They don't even tell you what kind of law they would pass. What law is going to stop maniacs from being maniacs? Laws like that, if they're effective ever, it's after the fact. It's not preventative. It's after the fact. The Democrats aren't interested in just future gun purchases and banning future guns. They're interested in taking your guns. Now, what's bizarre about all this is the Constitution trumps everything. So if they pass a statute and Biden signs it doing something like this, it's unconstitutional. And then they'll say, well, they have a right to a nuclear missile. Nobody's talking about nuclear missiles. Let's get real here. We know what we're talking about. We know what we're talking about. Go ahead.
I'd love every mother, every grandmother, every father, every grandfather, as they click their child into a car seat today, to think about the situation we're facing in this country. We are clicking children into car seats to save their lives. And this is something that was required by the government because the data was clear that car seats would save children's lives. And Americans accepted that. The data is clear. Weapons of war result in mass shootings in America. The only
let's stop a second here. What's killing young people more than anything in this country right now is the open border and the fentanyl coming across the open border. That's number one. Number two, what's killing our children with guns are criminals, psychopaths, gang members, drug dealers. That's who's killing our people with guns. And in these cities, they go in the front door and out the back door of the courthouse. That's part of the problem. You have liberal judges, Soros prosecutors, you have an open border. You've had over 800, almost 900 people die on the border since Biden was president. We learned that through testimony yesterday. Not testimony from Mayorkas, testimony from a question that came out by Ted Cruz, who did the calculations, he and his staff. So I'm tired of Democrats pretending that they care about children and we don't. They vote for and support partial birth abortion. That is abortion on demand when that is a baby. I don't want to hear lectures from them. They don't believe in removing weapons from people who protect them. The Congress, the White House, the Supreme Court, state capitol buildings, and all the rest. They don't, do they? And so I just want to make that point. And then the parents who buckle in their kids. We want to protect our kids. We want to protect our kids. But Claire McCaskill doesn't have all the answers. There's one answer they take off the table every time. Security personnel. Men and women who are trained in law enforcement to protect our children at schools. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you more comfortable with that or banning every weapon in the face of the country, which you know will not happen in the hands of a psychopath? Well, I know about me. I'd be much more, pleased. I'd feel much better if I knew that the school had active duty cops there, just in case. Then I'd feel great, as well as other protocols. But she doesn't believe in that. The Democrats don't believe in that because they hate the cops. They're stormtroopers. Another reason, as a side note, footnote, we didn't have the National Guard on January 6th at the Capitol building because they hated the optics too. Go ahead.
Country on the planet where this happens. It is time for the Democratic Party to start a culture war of their own around this subject.
Now stop. Gun violence deaths so far in 2023. They're including in that number suicide. I looked at these numbers the other day. They're including in that number domestic killings, spouse on spouse. They're not including that number. That's not a pure number of criminals out on the street killing people. And why isn't she arguing for tougher sentencing? And why isn't she arguing for tougher judges? And why isn't she arguing against the Democrat Party sugar baby, or sugar daddy, George Soros, who puts these prosecutors in place? Go ahead.
Democrats running in swing districts, Democrats running in purple states and even red states need to run on guns, on weapons of war being given to kids. In my state, the Republicans just voted in bloc to allow children of any age to openly carry an AR-15. This is so out of step with where most of America is.
How many people are killed with an AR-15? I assume almost none, wouldn't you, Mr. Executive Producer? Those are statistics that are available too. The vast majority of people are killed with guns, handguns, not AR-15s, not rifles. I'm just making a point. So if you banned all rifles, it would have almost no effect on the murders that take place in this country. Almost no effect. Go ahead.
It is now a stain on our democracy, and Democrats need to quit hiding from this issue and make it centerpiece in 2024, because it will work. People are tired of this. It is painful to watch this, and I'm sick of it, and I think most Americans are too.
Yes, I'm sick of it, and most Americans are too. But your answer is not the answer. That's the problem. Her answer is not the answer. Notice, none of these programs with these, what they had the whole circle of leftists there on MSNBC. None of them talk about police in the classrooms or even in the school. None of them. I don't mean in each classroom. I mean in the school systems, in the buildings. They don't talk about that. And they don't tell you that if you put in place this so-called assault weapons ban, that the consequence will be negligible because we've done it. They don't tell you that because this is driven by ideology. So they don't even tell you what kind of law they would pass. What law is going to stop maniacs from being maniacs? Laws like that, if they're effective ever, it's after the fact. It's not preventative. It's after the fact. When you have a cop in a school who confronts a killer, that's present day. That's not just after the fact. You're confronting the would-be or the killer, as opposed to a law which is intended, you hope that people will follow. But if you're a maniac, you're not going to follow the law. So you got to deal with the after effects. Now, even having cops in a building is not perfect. No system is perfect. But there's systems that are more perfect than others. People will point to Parkland, where they had an armed resource officer who basically hid behind a post the whole time. Okay, that guy is a disgrace. He has been publicly condemned. He should be publicly condemned. It is outrageous what that guy did. It's disgusting what that guy did. Got it. But the fact of the matter is, that won't happen in most places, and it doesn't.
Want to see more Mark Levin? Go to LevinTV.com and subscribe now.